3 glorious shoes to talk about today. Good morning, YouTube. What's up, everybody? I hope you're safe and healthy and happy and doing okay. We're back in the old space today because I have 3 shoes to talk about and I thought that the other layout wouldn't really be ideal. There's a big chunk of hair here. Nice. As a person who is totally obsessed with running shoes, has been in the running shoe game for quite some time now, it's easy for me to forget the people who are just entering this world of running shoes and how all of these decisions and choices and options could be pretty overwhelming. And the most common category that I get asked about is this category right here of plated tempo day / trainer shoes and which of them is the best and kind of which one they should get. Now, I'm gonna start by saying that my opinion is just my opinion. It's based on my foot and my stride and my preferences. Nothing beats going to a running specialty store and getting checked out by a person there so that they can give you a better idea of, like what you should be putting on your foot. But if you don't have access to that, I have 3 running shoes here today that we're going to talk about that I think are in the same category. They're all plated. They're all considered tempo day / daily trainers, and they're all around the same price point. Oh, I should probably tell you what these shoes are. We got the Nike ZOOMFLY 4, we got the Puma Deviate Nitro, and we have the Saucony ENDORPHIN Speed 2. So today, unfortunately, there's also no running footage because I ran out of time to shoot it. Plus, I wasn't really sure how to execute running in all 3 shoes. It would have been a lot, and to be honest, I just came up with this topic for this video today. So yeah, it wasn't the best of time management skills. All of these shoes here were provided to me by either Running Warehouse or the brand directly, but nobody can tell me what to say. They're not gonna see this video before you, and all of my opinions are always my own. I'm not gonna go crazy with the specs here, but I am gonna talk a little bit about weight. They're actually lined up from heaviest to lightest. So here, I'm a size 10.5 women's. This shoe came in at about 9.7 ounces, rounding up. This shoe was about 9 ounces, and the Saucony ENDORPHIN Speed 2 was around 8-ish ounces, maybe like 8.1. If that matters to you, then you obviously might be more attracted to the ENDORPHIN Speed. But I will tell you that none of these shoes feel particularly heavy on foot. So to me, it doesn't really make much of a difference. So now let's chat about the uppers. They are pretty different, but do have similar qualities. The Nike ZOOMFLY 4 has somewhat of an engineered mesh, but under it, this tongue kind of acts like a booty construction and sits on top of your foot. It's very stretchy. So that is kind of unique to itself here amongst these 3 shoes because we're not really working with anything like that for the other 2. This did help me to get like a really nice lockdown across the midfoot of this shoe, but something that I have mentioned in my full review of this shoe is that it feels a little bit snug with certain socks, and I think that's just because of this knit quality in here. That can tend to get a little bit suffocating for some people. It certainly wasn't a deal breaker for me. In the Puma Deviate Nitro, we have an engineered mesh. I struggled with this one a little bit because I did feel like it was pretty constricting regardless of the sock that I was wearing, especially in that forefoot. I didn't feel like I had a ton of room for my toes to splay, and I also mentioned that perhaps I could have gone a half size up here, but then the issue becomes with this shoe that I had some heel slipping in the back. So if I went up a half size, I'm guessing that that would probably get worse, but perhaps the front of the shoe problems would be fixed. So this construction of the upper wasn't my favorite, but what I will say is that if you try it on and it does work for you, it is very breathable. It seems like it's gonna be pretty durable. So while it didn't necessarily work for me super well, I can see how people could enjoy it. And then for the Saucony ENDORPHIN Speed 2, we just got pretty much like a standard mesh here. Really no frills, no bells or whistles. We got a regular tongue here. It is gusseted. The mesh is fairly breathable but durable. And it's not incredibly flimsy. And something that I like over this shoe's upper as opposed to the ZOOMFLY and the Deviate Nitro is that we have a nice heel, soft heel collar here Whereas these two shoes have something that I really don't like, and that's a very sharp kind of edge around the ankle collar, and then the padding for the ankle is kind of inside of the shoe. These sorts of ankle collars that are a little bit more pointy can really cause some irritation along the Achilles for people. So to choose an upper here is a little bit tricky for me because I do like the way the ZOOMFLY's upper feels for the most part. If I'm wearing a thinner sock, it just feels completely like butter. It's super comfortable. But if I don't want to have to think about the sock I'm wearing and I want to just put on an upper and a shoe and go and not have to think about the upper, then it's going to go to the Endorphin Speed 2 here because it's just no frills. It's a solid mesh piece here. And really, I do prefer a mesh over a knit. Now where these shoes start to differ even more is in the midsole. They all have kind of the same concept, but they do it using different materials. So let's talk about that now. In the Nike ZOOMFLY 4, we have their React foam, which is pretty much standard EVA. And then sandwiched in between those two layers of foam, we have a carbon fiber plate. In the Puma Deviate Nitro, we have their Nitro foam, which is nitrogen infused. So it's a little bit more fancy, I guess, than your standard EVA or something like React. And in here, we also have a carbon fiber plate as well. And they've also incorporated this little TPU plate in the heel just for a little bit of extra stability, which I appreciate. And then finally, in the Saucony Endorphin Speed 2, we have Power Run PB, which is pretty much Saucony's like top tier foam. It's PIBA based foam. Oh, and how could I forget? Unlike the ZOOMFLY and the Deviate Nitro, the Speed 2 has a nylon plate rather than a carbon plate. That PIBA-based foam gives you a really nice bouncy, energetic ride, and you're definitely gonna feel that through your foot strike. And you're also gonna feel a nice rolling forward sensation in this shoe from the Speed Roll technology, which I forgot to mention, but it basically is just the shoe is curved upward, gives you a nice roll forward in your stride, and that nylon plate. What I really like about the nylon plate here is that it's a lot more flexible than the carbon plates are, so the shoe is a little bit less stiff and kind of goes with your foot rather than forcing your foot in a certain direction. This shoe is not the softest feeling shoe out of the three, but it definitely does get the job done. I think out of these three shoes, for me personally, this is the least stable. So it's not the greatest when I try to take it double digits, but for a run up to 10 miles, probably a half marathon I could do, this is a great shoe. As for the Puma Deviate Nitro, it has that nitrogen-based foam, like I said, and this shoe does feel similar to the Endorphin Speed 2, but it has some differences. I feel less of a roll forward in the shoe, and just putting them next to each other, you can kind of see that this one curves up way more. To me, on foot, this feels a little bit more like a daily trainer rather than your tempo day shoe. As you can see, it is much stiffer than the nylon plate in the Speed 2. It's a little less bouncy, but it is softer in my opinion, and it is a bit more stable to me. I do think that this TPU plate in the heel does work. All right, now to the ZOOMFLY 4 with its standard EVA. This is the softest of the three shoes here, without a doubt, and I think that's because they're using lots of just standard EVA. Again, this is a very stiff shoe, probably just as stiff as the Puma. But I really liked the fact that this was soft. I like a soft shoe, just one of my preferences. So if I can get a little more cushion, then I'm always going to kind of gravitate towards that shoe a little bit more. And that's exactly what I did here. Even though this isn't fancy foam and it's kind of boring and outdated, as some of you might think, it just does it for me. It just works for my foot. This shoe also does have quite of a dip forward. As you can see, it really curves up. It looks almost kind of ridiculous on foot. You're definitely gonna feel that while you're running. I enjoy it. I think it feels fine at your regular, easier paces, and it feels great, obviously, when you're trying to pick up the pace, but it's not for everyone. So if you don't really like that kind of thing, you might wanna stay away here. As far as stability goes, I think that this shoe does a pretty decent job. It definitely does better than the Speed does in terms of stability. Probably about the same as the Puma-ish. I guess that kind of gives you an idea of which of these shoes I like better for midsole, and it's the ZOOMFLY 4. And it just goes to show you that fancy doesn't always mean better. And it doesn't matter what somebody else thinks is top tier and fancy. It really just depends on what you like. And for me, I like the softness of this. I like that it's not a super jarring ride. And I feel like I could take it for miles upon miles and be comfortable. As you can see, I've turned these shoes over, so now it's time to talk about the outsoles. Here in the ZOOMFLY 4, we just got your standard rubber. We got some in the forefoot and 2 strips in the heel. In the Puma Deviate Nitro, we have Puma grip in the forefoot and some in the heel as well. And in the Endorphin Speed 2, we have carbon rubber, kind of outlines the shoe, some in the forefoot, a little bit in the heel as well. Out of all of these, the traction on the Puma is definitely the most superior. I don't know what it is about Puma grip, but they've really got it going on. They really understand what it means to make a shoe that's gonna just grip onto the roads with ease and perfection. And that's what I gotta say here. Really, really good outsole. Definitely gonna give you tons of mileage. When comparing the ZOOMFLY and the Speed 2, I would say that maybe I like the outsole of the ZOOMFLY just a little bit more. I think that rubber is just a bit more grippy. I don't have a ton of issues with the Speed 2. It is a little bit slippery. I was caught in a monsoon with this once. I didn't fall on my butt, which is great. But in some circumstances, I'm a little bit like, ooh, I don't know. All right, so now let's chat about price. These 2 shoes are the exact same price on runningwarehouse.com, $159.95. And the Puma Deviate Nitro is not on Running Warehouse's website, but it is on the Puma website for $160. So these 3 shoes are literally the same amount of money. If you're interested in picking up a pair of the ZOOMFLY 4 or the Saucony Endorphin Speed 2, I'll put links in the description of this video. Keep in mind those are affiliate links with Running Warehouse, but it doesn't mean much for you. It just helps out my channel so I can compare these shoes and hopefully help you find which one of these beauties would work for you. But I guess the fact that these are the same price kind of makes your decision a little more confusing. But I think it's gonna come down to what exactly you want and what kind of running you do and what your foot strike is like. For me, I would pick the Nike ZOOMFLY 4 because I do the majority of my runs as just daily training runs, not a ton of tempo work right now because I'm not really training for anything specific. I'm just running to enjoy running. And I just love the amount of cushioning here. It's soft, it is propulsive when you want it to be, but when you just want to take it easy, you can absolutely do that here. And I just think it's very versatile in that sense. The heaviest, which might put some people off, but to me, that doesn't matter. And these are sort of lined up how I would describe as like most daily trainer-esque to least. The Puma is kind of in the middle, sits between that like tempo day, trainer vibe, but also you can do some easier stuff in it and it isn't as propulsive as the Speed. Here to me, this feels like a shoe that I could not do daily training in and that this would be really just a speed shoe for me. But I hope in this video I was able to kind of explain to you my thought process on these 3 shoes, what works, what doesn't for me, and what may or may not work for you, and kind of how they differ from each other. Because I know that the world of running shoes is overwhelming as heck. If you have any questions, if I didn't answer something that you were hoping to be answered, please comment down below, leave a little something for me, and I will be happy to get to that as soon as I can. Well, everyone, that concludes this video of which should you buy, the ZOOMFLY, the Deviate Nitro, or the Endorphin Speed 2. If you enjoyed this video, please like it down below and subscribe. And when you're done with all that, hit the notifications bell so you can find out every time I upload a new video. Ooh, can I do it? Ooh! I actually will not have another video next week. I am running the New York City half. I'm really excited for that. It's gonna be awesome, but I will not be making a video because I'll be doing the race. So, in the meantime, get out there, get on the grind, and don't forget to run like Heller. See you next time. Maybe I'll try to stack them. Ooh, that's nice.